Hello, my good friend. How are you today, Johnny? I just came back from my internet service provider to check what's wrong, why I cannot send voicemail. But anyway, I found out I could send a voicemail, but only 5 minutes per clips, which is a little bit sad. But anyway, I thought to give you an idea, so even if it is only 5 minutes per clip, I will start and then I will try to make a few clips to give you the story of my life. So to begin with, my name is Richard Heinrich Koopmann. I was born on the 31st of March 1935 in Wilhelmshaven. It's on the North Sea, located on the North Sea in Germany. And it was actually one of the most important Navy cities during World War II, where the sister ship of the battleship Bismarck was built. And my father, he was also in the Navy, but in the First World War, my father was already born in 1892. He was commander on the submarine in the First World War, but in the Second World War, he was only in reserve and he was not at sea anymore. So anyway, I grew up the first 4 years in Wilhelmshaven with my grandmother because my father was stationed in the army, in the navy, away from home, and my mother, she was in Berlin studying to become a nurse and a wife, who bring the baby at this world. I don't know the English name for that. Anyway, so in 1941, I was then separated from my home. I started to be, as we said, thrown around in Germany. My first children's home, it was like a nursing home that was Benningstein, far away from my home place in Wilhelmshaven. Then, to make it short, during the whole World War II, I was in different places in Germany, placed here and there. Finally, I ended up in 1943 in Bavaria, where I was placed on a farm because Hitler, in those days, he evacuated all the children, mandatory between 7 and 12 years. They had to be evacuated to protect them, their lives. So this was the reason I ended up 1943 in Bavaria on the farm, which I stay actually until 1945. 1945, my father suddenly showed up in that small village in Bavaria, close to Füssen, where the castles from the last Bavarian kings are. Anyway, he picked me up, so then from 1945 I was home again. And we moved to Munich because my father in civil life, he was a specialist in oil, so he had a gas station actually in 1945 until 1951. But in 1951 he sold the gas station and we moved to Hamburg. But now it comes the very funny story, actually the way I ended up to be at sea. This I will bring you in my second part. So this is my first part that you see until 1945 I was in Munich. I have to close it now because otherwise close, and I will come back with the number 2 then. Okay, Johnny, bye. I have to see how to transfer it anyway. Hello, Johnny. So this is now part 2 of my stories, and we ended up, as I said, in Munich, and but in June 1951, my father moved to Hamburg. But just in the last months, while we were still in Munich, it happened something. actually, I was going to be a baker. Imagine, that was my plan of life. I wanted to become a bakery guy. So, but one night I was in bed already, and my father and my mother, they were sitting in the living room. All of a sudden, my father, he had a newspaper, and it was written down that one of the German ship owners had rebought two sailing ships, tall ships, the Pamir and the Passat, which were actually from the flying P-liners from the First World War, which belonged to the ship owner with name of I forgot now the name, Albert Ballin. And anyway, so those two ships, they were supposed to be scrapped in England. They were somewhere in the port in England. So one ship owner, he bought them back to Germany in 1951 in June, and he wanted to build them up again and make it as a training ship for cadets. So when I hear now, my father was talking, because my father was sailing on the sailing ship in the First World War before he came on the submarine. He made such a interesting story when he told my mother how it is to be on the sailing ship, how majestic it is to look up in the top, in the mast, and everything. So I was full of interest, and from that moment on, I hardly could sleep no more. And I said next day to my father, I want to go at sea. The same time, while I was in Munich, there was also the movie running with Errol Flynn and the Sea Hawk. And the Sea Hawk, I was looking for that movie for 3 or 4 times to have an idea how it was at sea, which was naturally totally different. But anyway, with Errol Flynn in those days, and that was some sensation. Anyway, so in 1951, when we moved to Hamburg, my father said, you want to go at sea? Yeah, he said, you are not good at sea. You are too weak and so, because I was so slim. I went tall. I'm 6'4" tall. I was. Now maybe I'm 6'2". I shrink. But anyway, there I was tall and slim. And my father said, you have to be a powerful guy and so. Anyway, I didn't give up. So finally, my father went with me to visit the ship owner direct. And I got admitted. So because my father, he had a leading position, and he was not somewhere, and because there were thousands and thousands of applications to become on the Pamir and on the sister ship of the Passat. But anyway, he got confirmation that I will be accepted. So in October 1951, I started to go on the pre-course, which were on the lake, on the castle. For 3 months, we were trained to be okay to go on the tall ship on the Pamir, which the mast, were 200 feet high. So anyway, this was the start of my sailing, and since I come again close to 5 minutes, I will close this again, and soon I'm going to start with part number 3. Okay, and all the best, John. Bye. Hello, John. It's me again, Richard. And now we come to part number 3. So as I said, in 1951 in October, I went to the pre-course to be prepared to go on the sailing ship. And on Christmas Eve, 1951, we were shipped in on the sailing ship in Hamburg. We were loading 4,000 tons of cement bound for Rio de Janeiro. So we loaded until the 15th of January in 1952, and on 15th of January in 1952, the Pamir, the sailing ship, we left Hamburg with a target to Rio de Janeiro. And as soon as we came out from the River Elbe, we were in the North Sea. We encountered a heavy, heavy storm, and which lasted several days. And after about 4 or 5 days, we had to give SOS because the captain, he was afraid that we would lose our position because we could not sail wherever we want to go, because in those days, in 1952, the North Sea was limited. There was like a road, like a highway. You could only pass a highway because the whole North Sea was still poisoned by mines, by sea mines. So we had to stay within on the road within about half a sea mile wide. So this was the reason we had to put anchor, and one anchor broke then. So there was planes surrounding us and also ships surrounding us in case we had to leave the ship. We were all the cadets, we were 50 cadets on board and 30 crew members. So, but all the cadets first, we were all with our life vest on, waiting to be disembarked to be rescued by another ship. But miraculously, in the afternoon of one day, the wind suddenly shifted and we were able to set sail again to enter the English Channel, to pass between Dover and Calais on our way down to Rio de Janeiro. So we passed to the English Channel with excellent wind. We made partly 13 miles per hour, which is very, very high for a sailing ship like this. Because, the Flying P line, or the big sailing ship, the sailing ship what I have on my page, on my Facebook site. You could see the photo, you see the ship. Anyway, so we passed through the English Channel, everything was okay. So then we came in Biscaya and with course down to Rio de Janeiro. To Rio de Janeiro, it took us exact 49 days, and beginning of February, we landed in Rio de Janeiro, which was fantastic. I never saw that, and I never forget, because we were about 12 miles off from Rio de Janeiro. We could smell already. It was the sweet smell in the air from all the tropical plants, and unknown for us in Germany, when the closer we came, and also it was like as when there was a parfum in the area. It was beautiful. Anyway, after 49 days, we tied up in Rio de Janeiro, and then the big invitation time started. So we are now in Rio de Janeiro, and I will close this clip again. And if I have enough battery power, I continue. Otherwise, I have to charge my things again. So talk to you later then, John. All the best. God bless you. Yeah, Johnny, I am back, and I just checked my power. I think I could make one more clip, and after that, I will have to recharge my cell phone. But anyway, let's hope the best. As I said, we are now in Rio de Janeiro, and where we will stay for the next 7 weeks. Yeah, you heard right, 7 weeks. Those were the days to compare today when the ship stays a few hours in the port. We were staying there 7 weeks. It took them so long to discharge the cement. And we were laying on the pier, which is today, they call it the Praça Mauer. Today it was rebuilt for the Olympic. I have seen this, but in those days that was only a naked pier. And anyway, we had a beautiful time, 7 weeks. But in those days, I was only 16 years, so I had no experience with girls so far. I was still like the quiet boy from the country, But anyway, it was nice. We had invitation every day, every day. On the end, it was even too much, We were so anxious to leave again after 7 weeks when you have to go every day, and we had to dress ourselves because, as I said, we were cadets, We were the first training ship after the World War II. So we were like in the Navy, When we went on shore, we could not dress what we want. No, we had always to have our Palmier uniform and so on. So it was, on the end, it was time to leave. But during the time we saw a lot because many, many thousands of people came every day to visit the ship. You could imagine that's a real sensation. A big, big sailing ship, four-masted sailing ship with mast 2 meters, 200 feet high, So it was something special. Anyway, we had a beautiful time. We visit all the remarkable things, in Rio de Janeiro. You must have seen during the Olympic, they show always the Jesus, the big crucifix there, which they call the Corcovado, and we visit that and many, many, many other places. As I said, there was almost not one day where we have not been invited for bus tours in inland and so on. So, and then from Rio de Janeiro, we were now anxious to leave, and one day in the afternoon, our captain, he got finally the order that when we finish discharging all our cement, we have to go to Victoria. Victoria was just, I don't remember now exact, but I think it was only about 60 to 80 miles north of Rio de Janeiro, and we had to load like iron ore, which was very, very bad cargo for a sailing ship, because a sailing ship, when we are hard on the wind, a sailing ship listed sometimes up to 40 and 45 degrees. So the cargo had to be so secured. It was terrible. There was only 1 feet high in the lower hold and 1 feet high in our tween deck on the cargo. And then was it, because iron ore is so heavy. So anyway, it was not a very, very good cargo. And when we were loaded, when we finished, we went out from the harbor, we dropped the anchor, and it took us days and days to secure all the cargo. And finally, after that, then we set sail, and we are now on the way home. So this will come on the next clip, and I see I will have to recharge my battery. In the meantime, all the best, John. Hope you are home again for a day or two. And my best regards to all your family, and I talk to you later or maybe tomorrow. Okay? God bless you. All the best for you. Bye.